Well, hello there folks, and welcome back to what is today going to be us going through and having a look at some highlights from when we have been playing Tech Demo 6 for AQ Infinity. Now, one of the things you can see me doing in the background is actually merging for the Dragon Slayer Infinity class. This was one hell of a grind, especially when you compare it to the original. Essentially, you need to get these vials of dragonbane, which were dropping in tens, and you needed 1,000 of them. And for a bit of quick maths, you needed to beat the red dragon 100 times. Now, to put that in perspective for you all, that took me about 2 hours or so to do, maybe even longer, because the kill time on the red dragon is significantly longer when you're only hitting 30s and 60s. Believe it or not, I did randomly get like 380 vials. I still have no idea why. It just was right at the end of the farm, and then a load just appeared. Annoyingly, and it could have just been a me problem, I didn't seem able to equip Dragon Slayer Infinity class in Infinity. Interestingly, it does map over to Adventure Quest Worlds, but you don't get the skills or anything like that with it. It's essentially just another no class. But if you are a rare class collector and it's still available next time around, it could be worth going and picking up, just so you can say, look, I've got it. A bit like when we went and got the Umbra class. There was also a Rare Grimskull sword you were able to go along and grab, and we'll come on to that a little later in the video because we have to use some stream highlights in order to show you that one. However, one of the main testing things that was really being highlighted in this tech demo was Warrior, Healer, Rogue and Mage class. We won't look too much into the skills on those, but what I will do is equip each of them now in order so you can see what the animations and how they play and the sort of damage we were getting off of them. Bear in mind, we are only at level 11. One thing that did really throw me off, and you'll see it in a moment, is when you go in here and you're searching for classes, you instantly go on the armor tab. However, there is now an actual dedicated class tab, so that's just something that I had to kind of get my head around, and it honestly, it took a while. After years of clicking on just your generic armor one, at least we can say Infinity does run smoothly. I do like the overall play of it, and I like that we can just scroll across some of the maps now. I feel that's quite effective, or at least it would be effective at somewhere like Battle on Town. However, when we go to the layer and you're running past all the dragons on your way to the red dragon, it feels like you're running for an eternity and the map art has just been repeated. So I'm not sure necessarily if we need to walk quite that far, but of course I'm sure these are all things that over time will get tweaked. We're just sticking on rogue class now, and yes, as you can tell, you have got some nice little cloudy poison effects coming off of this skill, so that looked quite nice ever so briefly. You get to do some really nice flips of this class. It did feel like quite a grindy tech demo, and of course that was down to you if you wanted to go get the Rare Grimskull sword or if you wanted to go get the Infinity Dragon Slayer class. The Infinity Dragon Slayer class was really painful to do. The reason being is in order to re-accept the quest, you have to manually re-accept it each time, or at least I was doing that. I couldn't see a way to get it to auto re-accept. I don't think that is a thing in here at the moment, but I'm sure eventually it will be. So that took a little bit of time, and then once you're fighting the red dragon, you can't then click on the NPC's kind of exclamation mark to go and select the quest and just accept it mid-battle. So that was happening quite a lot, and it was delaying me. That's one of the reasons it took me so long in order to get that Infinity Dragon Slayer class. But hey, look, we got it in the end, and as you can see, this is what Mage class looks like in the background, just for anyone that was interested. As I mentioned earlier, Dragon Slayer Infinity is essentially just a no class in Adventure Quest World, so if you do go along and equip that, whilst you have, of course, got it AC tagged for that lovely bank storage, you'll see there are no real skills for you to use with this one. It is more just a collection item. I did do a midweek stream for the tech demo, and when we were doing that, here are some little clips that we picked up. Please do excuse that a lot of the Infinity stuff doesn't fit on the screen very kindly. It's a really strange resolution, and yes, as it was a stream, you do get my lovely face talking nonsense in the top right. However, that is muted for this video. As you can see, we are not lip syncing to myself. Now, if you want to do the Grimskull sword, it is going to be available at future tech demos. It is not rare yet, but it will go rare eventually. You need to go along and defeat that bone terror type thing outside the magic shop. The item drops that come individually from them, like the hilt for example, from the Rick and Mortiff in the inn, and especially Zorith's blade or whatever it was. This thing took me 2 hours to drop that blade. It was infuriating. Something was really different though in this tech demo, and it is the fact that the quest items were actually quest objectives. Now what that meant is everyone was getting the drops at different times. These weren't generic room drops where you'd be getting an item and everyone gets it all at the same time and can access it. It's very different to how it was working in Adventure Quest worlds. So I may get the drop, but the person to your right may not get the drop, which makes it even more random. So if you're doing group farming, I'm probably not the biggest fan of that in the world. If you're going through your friends doing it, you want to be getting it at the same time. At least that's my opinion and thoughts on it. Maybe you want to get it at different times, but at least then you could keep up with each other. So I'm not too sure if I like this whole quest objective side, especially on something that can turn into quite a long grind. So we'll wait and see how that plays out in the future. Anyway folks, that is about all for today. So as always, please do leave the video a like and of course subscribe, and I'll be back for more AQ Infinity content as and when we can do it. And other than that, it is time to get back on with normal Adventure Quest worlds. So until next time, have a lovely day.